Hey class, how's it going? Hey, so in this quick video, I wanted to show you how to um, use multiple image files. It's just this ones that I have here in order to convert them into a single PDF document, such as this one right here. Okay, so the first thing that you'll need is, of course, your images. These images most likely will come from your phone or perhaps from your scanner that you might have at home or from your job place. But you'll need, of course, those image files to begin with. Secondly, you are going to need Adobe Acrobat um, installed on your personal laptop. Now, what I would suggest is that you actually install what's called the Creative Cloud Desktop, which is what you see on my screen right here, which is where you actually can download anything Adobe related, which we will be using later in the semester, Photoshop and Illustrator. But for now, I would suggest and highly encourage that you install what's called the Acrobat BC. Okay. Now, in order to access that, you'll need to do it via the Adobe website. Make sure that you sign in, remember, with your student account, your EPCC student account. Okay, that is very important as well. Additionally, I haven't tried this route, but I wanted to point it out. If you log on to my.epcc.edu, and then right here on the left, there's this column that says all apps right here. Click there. If you scroll down, at least in my case, I see this Adobe Acrobat. I'm not really sure which one that is. I haven't tried it myself, but know that, and I would try that additionally in case the Creative Cloud is giving you some issues. Or you may already have Adobe Acrobat installed. Now, some laptops nowadays come with what's called an Adobe Reader, right? And that's not enough, right? The Adobe Reader has limited features, and the Adobe Acrobat allows you to do an array of additional features, many of which we need in this case particularly. Okay, so once you're set up with your images and with the right software, which in this case is Adobe Acrobat, the rest should be pretty easy. Okay, so first off, you want to make sure that you have your images is ready to go, and I'll talk a little bit more about what I mean about that. And once you do, and once you have installed the software on your machine, you would then select, right? So I'm holding Shift from one end to another one to select all of those images. Or if you don't need all of them, you can select, press Control, right? And click and select the ones that you need, right? So if you press and hold Shift, it will select an array or a range. If you hold and press Control, right? 1 second, class. Now this is being very loud. All right. Sorry about that, class. Again, let's say that you only wanted these two, you would hold Control, or if you want all of those four, you would hold Shift. Then you would right-click, and then if you see right here, right, once I press right-click, I have this option right here of Convert to Adobe PDF or Combine Files in Acrobat, right? I'm going to select the second one, right, Combine Files in Acrobat, all right? So once I do that, it takes me to this page right here. right? And in this page, I can additionally make sure that the order is correct, right? Something that it's also very important when you're creating your documents and uploading for any assignment that you might have to submit. Now, again, these files that I'm using right now, they're just as an example. They're not for any particular assignment, for any particular course. This is just an example of how to generate a single PDF out of multiple image files. All right. So once I have the right order, you can additionally rotate the images, right? Well, you will be able to. There's a better way of doing this right now, so I'll leave it right now. But we'll talk about that if you do need to rotate some pages. So I click Combine, and I have now a single PDF document with these 4 images. Selected. Now, if you go to the left side right here in the bar, you have this button right here, and you click there, you see the thumbnails, and you again will see all of those images, kind of like how you see it on PowerPoint. But again, that should tell you that these images are all in a single document, right? Because you actually see the thumbnails within that same binder, I guess what PDF calls it by default. Now, since we're there, right, we want to rename this binder right here, right? Because Adobe has compiled or combined all of these files into a single PDF document, but we still need to go to File, Save As, right? You might have your folders already here, but if not, you can go to choose a different location, right? In this case, again, I highly encourage you to be working on the OneDrive to keep all of your files on the cloud so that you can access them for any device, right? I look for, my correct destination. And just another tip, right? And I think I've seen some of you guys already doing this. Let's make sure that when you're saving these documents, and it's not only for submission and for your instructions, but it's actually more for you, that at any point you will be looking for a particular file for whatever reason, whether that's for submission, for a great clarification, or for using it in your portfolio, you name it, right? It's very helpful that you develop a naming convention, and sometimes this will be given to you by instructors. Sometimes you'll create your own naming convention, but I guess as a rule of thumb, I would suggest that you put a little prefix as to what class this is for. In this case, this is graphics 1. I even actually like to start with the semester, right? I mean, spring 22, right? Graphics 1, assignment 1, and then the name of the assignment. For example, in this case, a single PDF lesson that I'm doing right now, right? But that's great, because at any point you'd be like, well, it was during the spring, and I think it was a graphics course, right? So, right now, 2022, let's say 4 years from now or beyond, you can look back into your files, and it could be easier for you to manage those files, and again, keep track of all of them, right? So once you have a naming convention set right there, and a location, all right, let's go ahead and click Save. And, right, if we did things correctly, we should have our PDF created, saved on the location that we specified. Okay. All right. And why do we want to do this? Well, because again, it's much more easier for handling, right? I mean, think about having to carry multiple things, individually, or what's easier, right? I mean, if you just put them on a box, you carry that box, with multiple items in it. It's kind of like the same analogy, right? It makes it easier to transmit documents. And again, it's by convention the preferred way. Now, since we're talking about this, let's talk about a few more things right here, right? I talked about rotation. Let's see. Let me click this right here, right? Well, actually, here this is a good example right here. I don't know why, right? But all of my images right here are upside down. Okay. So what happened? I'm not really sure, but let's see if we can fix it right here, right? So you see, I'm on the thumbnails right here on this document right here. There's these arrows right here. Let's see, if you place your cursor on top of it, it can give you a title for what that button will do, right? So I can actually very easily rotate this right here. And again, this is really important, right? You really want to, um, be clear and, keep your work clean. So I would highly advise you to, and actually request for my classes to always rotate your images correctly, right? And it's common sense, right? I mean, just think about it, right? I mean, the same way that you have to kind of like tilt your head like this or rotate and kind of like, what I mean, um, I mean, you want to facilitate for the other person at the end, right? I mean, in this case, your instructors, right, or later clients, right? I mean, you want to, again, your work to be as clear as possible, right? So part of it is actually formatting it correctly, right? So please, for your assignments, do not submit, right, images that are rotated like that if they're not meant to be rotated that way, right? So always align them. And actually, I don't know if you can see, right, but from the images that actually was using originally to create the PDF, I don't know if you guys can see, but the original image had this extra space right here from where I capture the image, right? And as you can see, actually in the PDF, I have removed that. And I did this PDF before I started recording, kind of like set everything up. But let me show you how to do that as well, right? Because again, just talking about craft and keeping things clean and professional, that's part of it as well, right? So if I open the PDF that I just created, right, you'll see that I actually have that extra space that is there, kind of just wasted space, really, right? And it actually makes your work smaller. And sometimes this may not be, right now it's just a desk, but it might be something distracting or just something that you don't want to be part of the image. Well, again, on Acrobat Pro, right, or Acrobat, we can easily remove that. Okay, now you could do it as well beforehand. In this case, for example, this image right here, it had that as well, but actually on my iPhone, I just cropped it, right, and then I just sent it over to my desktop, right. This one as well, right. These two images were just like this ones that have like that banner on top of the bottom, right? So you could do it previously on your phone, which I think would be the fastest way of doing this, right? But if you, for whatever reason, you didn't notice or you forgot, you can still take care of it in PDF, in Acrobat, all right? So let's see, where is that? I think that setting is right here under Edit PDF, right? And then you should have this option right here that says Crop Pages, right? We click there, right? And then we can make a selection, right, with your cursor, right? And notice that in this case, you don't want to leave out any, of course, part of the document, right? But in this case, I'm trying to crop out anything that really doesn't contribute to what I actually am transmitting, right? So I press Enter. This window pops up. It's hard to tell, but actually right there, there's a black line right there. It's showing you the new outline of what you actually want to keep. All right, and I press OK, and notice that it has now been cropped. All right, let's try this one. Okay, this image right here. So crop pages. Again, you kind of like have to eye this, and and actually in this case, right? I mean, I'm not worried about the left side of the page. So tell you what, I'm just gonna place my cursor right there, kind of like bring this out here, kind of like there. Right there. You can still actually move this right a little bit, kind of like set it up like that. Right. 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 Actually, let me show you. You can actually even grab what's called the notes right here, right? Say that, I didn't adjust that correctly. Bring it down right there, and maybe the top and bottom, maybe the bottom, and see if I can get it closer over here. Right, bring it right there, press enter, press OK. Bam, crop that right there. Now I have really, right, directed the attention towards what I'm really, trying to communicate, which is actually drawing on these pages right here. Don't forget to click File, Save, or Save As if you had not done so that those changes can stay there. Now, so we've talked now about how to compile a single PDF out of multiple images, how to crop them, both outside of PDF and inside, how to rotate them, right? How to rotate the images, and again, you could do that on your phone, the rotation, or you could do it right here at the end. And again, always before you're going to submit something, whether that's to an instructor, client, you name it, fabricator, always double check what you're about to send. So always open it, go through it, and once you approve it, send it, right? I cannot tell you how many times, I get assignments from students that they really didn't even open. So as they get other assignments, it's very common, right? Students attach assignments that are different assignment, right? I've even gotten like essays from other courses, because, well, time and whatnot, we're just kind of like moving fast. Now, the last thing that I wanted to talk about, it's image quality and actually capturing or scanning your images, because a great deal of, again, the success of the, the PDF that you're creating is actually, if you notice, the quality of the images right here, okay? So, of course, in this case, I'm just using my phone, and I'm just using my phone's camera. It's an iPhone. And that's fine. Again, what I encourage my students to do is to actually use an app that is called Lens, right, by Microsoft, and it's actually free for students right there, along with your Microsoft tools, right? It's called Lens. Microsoft Lens is that middle one right there. There you go. No, there's one up. There we go. There we go. Lens, right? And that's actually a scanner that is going to allow you to actually, crop and even combine and create PDF from it within it, right? So it's actually very, very neat, because as you've seen, I've been using desktop, and I think a lot of you might be using your phone, and I think that'll be the route that you want to go. But whichever the case be, whenever you're scanning or photographing your work, it's really important a couple of things, all right? Number one is you set yourself up in an even, surface. Number two is that you actually have good lighting. I know you guys can tell right now there's like this ray of light sort of like splitting me over here, right? Because there's this big window right in front of me, right? And you don't necessarily want direct sunlight, meaning that the rays of the sun are coming directly to your page, but you do want natural light, and I think that's the best, in my opinion, it's the best lighting that you can use, right? So that's the lighting that I use for these photographs right here. Now, sometimes you might be scanning or documenting your work at night. In that case, make sure that you have some, spotlights, some desk lamps, task lamps around you, so that you have good lighting, and avoid some of this shadow. Like, for example, you might be taking a photograph, and the light source is over here, and your hand is over the document. So again, it can start making the work look messy or confusing, because you'll start seeing different shapes that are not part of the actual drawing in this case. Now, other than that, just keep your phone steady, right, on the line. You want to make sure that the edge of your phone is parallel or aligned to the edge of your sketchbook or surface, to keep the drawing, aligned. As you see in some of these images right here, you get like this belly, from the sketchbook. It's not really ideal. It's okay for some assignments like this ones that are just, some exercises, but for something more important, I would make an effort to, press on the document itself, use a flat, bed scanner, or, well, that's about it, right? I mean, you want to avoid that, right? At least in certain cases. And well, again, you'll see that at least in my classes, any assignment that you'll submit, a big part of the work itself is presentation and professionalism, right? So it's not just about what's on the sketchbook, but it's how you submit it, right? So it might look great on your sketchbook, but if the document that you're submitting, which is actually what I'm receiving and what I'm grading, is not optimal, then it will be reflected on the evaluation and assessment of the assignment itself, right? And hopefully you can understand that, right? Just like, when you buy something, you might see it online, and it might be, or when you sell something, right? I mean, it might look great, right? But once you send it or receive it, it might not be that great, right? I mean, so think about that when you're submitting your work. It's not only about how it looks on the actual sketchbook, but it's about, how it actually gets to the eyes of whether that's the client or your instructor. And lastly, I wanted to show you there's some creative freedom in here, right? I mean, some flexibility, right? This is, some exercise that we've done in class, right? I mean, and again, you'll see that the sketchbook is here. You see the binder, right? And you even see the desk surface over here. But, I mean, I can still see the work is legible, it's still, valid, right? I mean, more sketches over here, right? And again, ultimately, what you don't want to do is crop out any important information, right? I mean, from the assignment itself, right? So this one, for example, right? I mean, it still has some stuff right here on the side, but that's okay. I mean, I can still evaluate the work. And I mean, again, think about it this way. It's about me evaluating the work, right? I mean, and at this point, I don't have access to your physical sketchbooks. I can only go by what you're submitting digitally, right? So it's actually to your benefit, right? I mean, how well these documents are, uh, um, well, this work is documented through photographs and scanning and compiling, right? And submission as well, right? This handout that we're working on class, actually this particular semester, you guys are working on it, right? So that's an example right there. And even, right, sometimes like, in this case, Ashley, right? I mean, even this kind of photograph, I find that also, to be fairly compelling, right? I mean, I can still see the work and even, see the tools and see the setup. That looks attractive. I just, again, you can see there's some sort of like a big shadow, kind of like over here, perhaps of, the person that was photographing this. I would try to maybe be careful with that, right? But, I mean, there's still some creative freedom, right? I mean, in terms of how do you document this work. And I think there's another example of that right here that, again, it makes the work look very attractive and actually kind of like dynamic, right? I mean, we see the tools that, we're using, and we see, a little bit of the action kind of like behind the scenes on that as well, right? So think about that. It's about presentation. It's about professionalism. It's about making the work look good, as great as it looks in person as it looks online. Okay, so hopefully that's been of help. Any questions, you know where to find me. And yes, let's have fun with the actual exercises, and do our best in submitting this work for your school and professional work. All right. right, class. Well, I'll see you in the next one. All right. Bye.